Good day everyone, welcome to another market update. Because we are seeing some momentum and because we got a very nice indicator showing us that it's a very massive buy opportunity right now. So before we're going to continue, do not forget to subscribe beneath and also like this update, and let's get to the information. Also do know that we're not going live tonight. We're also not going live for these 2 weeks, given the fact that we are building the company further, but we are here for an additional update. So what do we see on the screen here? We see the stock to flow deflection. It is an analysis of the actual underlying price of Bitcoin to the stock to flow ratio at this point in time. Beneath 1 is undervalued, above 1 is overvalued, and you always have the range of how heavy this is actually an effect right now. There's some very important indicators or points of view here that you should be looking at. First of all, a parabolic advancement is going to overshoot heavily to the upside, which means that the parabolic in 2017, 2014, 2013 and 2011 are also overshooting in the stock to flow deflection model, through which you can derive that that is a very parabolic top in the actual market. It's also way further up above the moving averages, is also an indicator. Then second, what we can derive here is that during the recent run-up of Bitcoin, we have not been into overvalue state yet. We have barely been above it, meaning that there is not a top of this bull cycle created through such a period of distribution. It is probably a temporary top, just like any of these figures here in 2016 have also been such a case. Also, you should be aware of the fact that we've been running 20x in just a year, and we have been crashing down because of leverage traders and because of the exchange failing through which we were down from 38k to 30k. I'm not sure whether we've gone to 28 to 30k if the exchanges didn't fail once again. So is this the top of the bull cycle? Most likely not, given the fact that we've not seen such a parabolic advancement. But now when we look at the data here and we can see what the green numbers mean, you can see that when it goes heavily below 1, it is actually getting into a state of buy territory, because the stock to flow model or this ratio states that it's very heavily undervalued compared to the two. So in this case, it's the lowest point in 10 years time, since 2010, that we are signaling here. The last time we were this low is in 2017 during a crash. Probably it was the China crash. In 2018, when we were this low, when the bear market happened. In 2020, when the March crash happened. And in 2020, while we were consolidating after the crash in September 2020, which I've been showing you earlier this period, that we can just continue consolidating. So based on this fact, it's a massive buy signal. Based on the fact that the fundamentals didn't change, we can see governments even adapting towards Bitcoin. That is a huge signal for you that you should not be selling here to wait for 20k, but I think you should be accumulating. And right now we see that Bitcoin is making a slight movement, let's put it that way, in which we have retested the area around 34k and we started to continue moving towards the resistance zone. So I've made this scenario previously in which we saw that Bitcoin is going towards the resistance zone and now getting into an area where we might be getting a chip chop, in which we are probably going to move some more sideways before we can continue lasting. What you want to see right now is that we're creating higher lows after this higher high. So right now we see a higher high. You want to see a higher low being sustained. If you've seen the update that I made earlier today, you saw that my critical levels are 37.5 and 35 to 36. Below those levels, I do not want to see Bitcoin. Below 35, you don't want to see it, because of the fact that then it's not creating higher highs and higher lows anymore. So you want to see it sustain at 37.5 preferably, and especially given that we are testing resistance right now, we might even hold on to 39.5, which is on the lower time frame currently the critical breaker. 39.5 is a very interesting one to watch. If that holds, we might even continue to 42k before we start to correct. And if we correct, 37.5 is the level that I'm watching. But I think we're going to continue the upwards momentum in general. And then the final question becomes, what are altcoins going to do? Well, as a matter of fact, altcoins are still in the critical support zone. And I was expecting altcoins to be crashing heavily in their Bitcoin pairs if Bitcoin is going to continue moving. But Bitcoin is up significantly and alts are up even more. Ethereum is green on the daily candle of the Bitcoin pair. Why did it actually drop down in the 2 weeks ago when Bitcoin crashed? It started to drop at the moment that Bitcoin dropped from 36 to 30k. That panic moment, it crashed heavily. And since then, retailers started to panic heavily about the markets in itself. Did something change fundamentally to the altcoins? No. But I'm assuming that the moment that Bitcoin is going to consolidate, you will see the money flow back into the altcoins again, in which they start pacing up towards the levels they were prior to the crash. Litecoin shows a beautiful example of it in 2017, in which, I have to use another one, in which we saw a similar crash happening here. We came back all the way down, and then we started to consolidate before we even started to continue running. Through that fact, if those ranges of those altcoins, and in this case Ethereum, which is just holding a very important level here, is going to continue moving, we most likely get a run towards 2900 on Ethereum. And then you want to see the Bitcoin pair starting to pace up. And if it does that, you will probably see them continuing the momentum and the momentum. So, based on Bitcoin, it's a very massive point of interest here. You want to accumulate here. What are altcoins going to do? If Bitcoin is not going to be very vertical and just consolidates here, they will continue moving, and then you will still see them doing well. So it's a massive buy indicator on Bitcoin at this stage, and I think it's one of the most substantial indicators that you should be looking at. And then finally, I'm very pleased that altcoins are bouncing in the Bitcoin pair and not getting crushed. That means that the strength is not gone. I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh new update. Enjoy your evening and ciao!